Now that you have the basics of schema down, I want to add in some additional ideas that you can use to help give your website a little boost that your competitors may not be taking advantage of. The first one is that you really take the time to select the right business type. We don't want to just go with the local business schema. While that works for many businesses, oftentimes you can really focus in on a particular category that better describes what the actual business does. Now, if you're using the microdata generator that we looked at earlier, if the business that you're working with falls into one of the categories, for example, an attorney, a locksmith, a restaurant, then you can click on that particular schema. You can insert all of your business information just as we did earlier, and it will go ahead and generate that schema for you. But it's likely that your business is not going to fall into one of these main categories. As you can see, there's not a lot of categories here. Now, Phil Rosick has created an enormous list of business types, and this is something that I'll actually link to in the course here. But you can search through these. There are hundreds of different industries that are listed here. So I recommend that you go through this list and find the one that works best for you. So for instance, I am working with lawn care and lawn and landscaping. So doing a search for that, I see that there is both a landscaper category, which puts me at schema.org/home and construction business, or I can go with lawn care service if I feel that that's a better fit, and that actually will be schema.org/professional service. So as you can see, that's a little bit more focused than just schema.org/local business. That's going to better define what it is that I do. The same thing if you are a locksmith, having a schema.org/locksmith business type is going to be better for you than just the local business type. Now in the next section, we're going to talk about citations and why they're important for local business SEO and how to actually go about getting them. But in case you're not familiar, essentially a citation refers to any time your business NAP information is listed online. And NAP is simply your business name, address, and phone number. So a lot of times these are considered sites like Yelp and Yellow Pages where your business information is included. But one thing that we can do to help with our citations and to help with rankings is to use the schema item property called same as. And what this does is it connects your website with one of either your citations or your other social media sites. For example, you can link to your Google Plus page, your Yelp profile. You can link to some other citation source or even your Facebook page. And you can actually do this multiple times on a single page and reference different citations. So you don't want to go overboard or anything here, but it's okay to include it a few times. So this is how this would look. I would include a link and an item property, same as, and I would include a link, for instance, to this Google Plus page. And this is going to better tie the website together with this particular citation source. So that's a great thing to take advantage of. Another thing I like to do since we are working with local businesses, there's a couple of local tags that can really help out as well, especially since we're already adding this particular information to our images and to our contact page or other places on our website. The first is that we can add the geographical information or the geo tag to our web page. So this would be including the schema.org/geo coordinates, and this is where you can include your latitude or your longitude. And there's plenty of places online like this one where you can go ahead and grab your longitude and latitude, where you can insert that into the code here. Now, HasMap is another one, and this is used where you can mark up the map of your business. So to do this, you want to go into Google Maps, and you want to actually search for your business name here, not just the actual address. And then you want to click over here and grab the embed code, and I like to just grab the shortened URL here, and then you can include it in the code like this. So this will go ahead and display your map, and it will help link it to that particular location. Now, you might have noticed by now that if Google makes a recommendation, I always like to take advantage of it because they're giving you an answer, a ranking factor. They're telling you what to do. And one of those things is they recommend that you use schema markup with your logo. So it would look like this, where in your image tag, you are going to include the item property logo. And this just lets them know that this is your preferred URL for your business logo. And the reason that they say that this is so important is that if they choose to display the knowledge graph, which appears on the right-hand side of the organic search results, this helps make it more likely that your business is going to have that knowledge graph. That knowledge graph listing is up to Google, so this is just one thing you can do to encourage them to display your website there. Now, I also like to list the phone number, of course, but I want to mark it up as well because this, of course, is going to tell Google what your phone number is. But more importantly, when users are on mobile devices, it will actually hyperlink it. So if visitors click on your actual phone number, it will allow them to call you. Google does recommend that you use the international number. So I like to go ahead and throw in that one here for the US as well, but you can change that depending on the country that the business is located within. Now, lastly, I'd like to look at images, and then we'll look at how we can tie all of this together. Now, we've talked before about using the alt and the title tags for images, but you can also use schema markup for images to give them an extra boost as well. So images can really be helpful for this site. A lot of times when I get a new SEO project and there was previous SEO work done, I see code that looks like this. And this is where they're showing Google that this is an image by using the item property image. However, I don't find that overly helpful because that doesn't really describe what the image is about. And when you're using images, there is so much that you can do to further describe an image to tell Google all about it. So what we want to do is we want to look at schema.org/image object. And here, this is where you will see all of the different properties that you can include in your schema markup that are related to images. So for instance, you can tell Google when the image was created. You can tell them where the image was taken. You can give the image a description. You can give the image a creator. So there's a lot of information here. So let's take a look at how I could use this on an actual page. So let's say I am going to create this leaf removal services page. And here I'm going to define this as an article for my schema markup. And then I am going to include the item property name so I can give the name of the article. And then in the article body, this is where I'm just going to list my article. I'm going to type out my entire article within this area here. Then wherever I would like to place my image, I can do that using this div tag here. And notice that this is where I'm going to use the schema/image object tag right here. I'm going to include the URL of the image, and then I'm going to give the image a name and a description, and then also where this was located. I'm also going to tell Google who created the image. And again, this is where I can also include my same as tag and link it back to one of my citation sources. Now, if you're using WordPress, it will strip out your schema markup. So there's a couple of things you can do. You can disable your visual editor, or you can use a plugin like Post Snippets. This will allow you to create shortcodes that you can insert into your pages. That way WordPress won't strip those out. So this does take a bit of time to set up, but the good thing is that you can actually export those shortcodes and then you can use them on your other sites as well. So that time will be of good use. So there's so much that you can include here for images, including where and when the picture is taken, and this can be particularly helpful if your business is not physically located in the area where you serve. So on-page optimization is very important for ranking in those other locations, and this is just another way to get a little boost for those locations as well if you don't have that physical address. And lastly, I want you to remember that you don't have to just mark up images or your logo or your NAP information, meaning your name, address, and phone number. You can also mark up if you have particular products, whether you are selling those or listing those on a website, if the business has any offers, if they are getting reviews from their clients or their customers and they want to promote those as well, or even if the local business has events and they want to promote that and encourage Google to display those offerings in their search results. So these are all things that you can play with and consider depending on the type of business that you're working with.